that makes a 20-gallon water change, which is approximately a 10% based on its 200-gallon volume. So we've got our 20 gallons of water into the tank. It's now time to turn the system on. That's done right back here. And we can now take and clean the protein skimmer while the system's filling up. The protein skimmer is a Venturi-style skimmer. What that means is it uses a Venturi valve on the inlet side of its water pump, which sucks in the air. The pump beats it up and sends it back into the skimmer itself. That's all the gook that the protein skimmer drives out. So we've now finished cleaning the tank. It's time to redecorate the tank, putting the clean corals back in. This is the fun part of the job. This is the creative or artistic aspect of it that I enjoy so much. Now that filter pad that I mentioned sits on top of what's called a drip plate. The drip plate allows the water to rain down over the bioballs. But the problem here, I can see already, is the drip plate is so plugged up, the water's hardly passing through it. And you can see it's filled up, so it's just bypassing off the backside, which is missing the bioballs entirely. So we need to take that drip plate out and clean it. So we need to lift up the lid and first remove the new clean filter pad, and then carefully lift out the drip plate. I gotta be honest here, typically these drip plates don't come out this easy. So you can see the drip plate is just a square piece of acrylic, has a series of holes drilled in it. So what we need to do needed to do was just take and clean it out, blast the debris out from within all those little holes that are drilled in there. You can see the holes, and debris just gets trapped inside there, and of course it wouldn't go through the drip plate and thus bypass the bioballs, which is the biological filter, the most important filter in the tank. So it's not just draining water and replacing the water, but taking care of the system as you would a fine Ferrari. You've got to deal with certain things in there. Okay, so let's put that drip plate back in place. So you should be able to see now the water's passing through the pad and now dripping through all the series of holes in there, and in turn it's raining down over the bioballs, which is what it's supposed to. If the water's not being exposed to the bioballs, more specifically the bacteria in the bioballs, it's not going to be a very good biological filter. And this would only become a bigger problem later on, and that's part of aquarium maintenance. So one of the biggest advantages of the wet-dry trickle filter is its ability to aerate the water, and because of all that aeration, it makes for an extremely effective biological filter. The water exits the tank via an internal overflow, kind of like a bathtub. It rises up to the top and spills over into that box. That box in turn travels down to the wet-dry trickle filter. Now, there is a particular water level that we need to seek in the wet-dry trickle filter, because if it's too high, if for some odd reason when the power goes out, it could back siphon. And what I mean by back siphon is those are the returns coming into the tank from the filter. And if the power goes out, the water is going to drain down or be sucked back down via those returns down into the wet-dry filter. Kind of like a back siphon, I guess, if you want to call it such. What that means is there is a particular water level that we have to seek inside the filter. Otherwise, it won't hold all that water that comes back. Now you can see there that we're probably 3 inches too high. So I need to go through and drain out that 3 inches of water to make sure that if the power goes out, this filter does not overflow. And as you can see, we've brought the water level down to the mark, and having tested that in the past, we know that if the power goes out, the amount of water that will drain back from the tank into the filter would be held by the filter and not overflow. So it's now time to add the fish to the tank, and we've been allowing them to acclimate in the bucket probably for the last hour, certainly the period of time that we've been servicing the tank. So let's go ahead and see if we can catch some of those fish and put them back into the tank. One fish. Let's see if we can catch the second one here. Ooh, fast fish. Doesn't want to be caught. Come on, sweetheart. Oh, sometimes the trick is to be smarter than the fish. Really, the trick is just to get him trapped in a corner, or wait till he decides to jump out of the tank. Yeah, Mr. Butterfly. And there he went over there. His buddy's over here. Over there. Now that we've added the water and the 2 new fish, we can clean the lids and place them back up on top of the tank. And with the lids back in position, we can now close the lid on the canopy and clean the front of the aquarium. Now it's important to note here that you do not want to use ammonia-based cleaners on an acrylic aquarium. You want to use specifically polishes or cleaners for acrylic materials. Ammonia-based cleaners have the tendency to, over time, dry out the acrylic. So now that we've finished servicing this large flatback hexagon aquarium, we can step back and allow the fish to slowly begin to come out on their own.